Previous videos you have seen about AWS Batch and AWS ECS. What is AWS Batch? It is used to compute workloads under containers, right? Yes. And what about AWS ECS? It is also used to run your servers by using containers. So where you are running? You are running under containers. So what is the first thing that this container will require? So what is the first thing that this container will require to create the container for your application? That is what this container will require to create your application and all the dependencies where these application and its dependencies will be stored. These application dependencies and everything will be stored under image. What do we call that image? Docker image, right? Yeah. So Docker container image. Since we're creating containers from this, we call it as Docker container image. Okay. Now, in order to store this Docker container image, I need a storage, right? Yes. So in general, where do we store publicly this Docker container image? We will store this Docker container image in either Docker Hub, right? So publicly we will store there our Docker container image in public repositories, or else if you want, you can even store in private repositories. Now, is there any service in AWS? Is there any service in AWS where we can able to store these Docker images? Yes, there is a service in AWS. The service name is ECR. What is that? ECR. What does ECR stands for? ECR stands for Elastic Container Registry. What is this? ECR stands for Elastic Container Registry. Okay. So let's see more in depth about it. Right? Yeah. So what does ECR provides me, sir? In this ECR, you can able to store and manage your Docker images. Let me write that point. In ECR, in Elastic Container Registry, you can able to store and manage your registries. So now you can tell me, let's say you have stored your data in publicly. Everyone will be able to access it. Now you can tell me, is that secure? No, right? No. So that's why we need to go for this ECR instead of going for that Docker Hub. We are going for this ECR because since here we can able to store more number of registries, more number of images in a registry. So that's why we can come for this ECR instead of going for Docker Hub. Now let's see how this ECR will be. Who manages this ECR, sir? This is managed by AWS. ECR is managed by AWS. The whole ECR infrastructure is managed by whom? AWS. So do we need to take care of the ECR maintenance, the background servers maintenance? No, right? Yes, we don't need to maintain because AWS will maintain all the background for the ECR. So now let us see how the ECR will be. Let's say this is your AWS ECR service. This is your AWS ECR service. Whenever you create an account, then it will create a registry for you. What it will create? It will create a registry, defaultly a private registry. It will create a private registry for you. Okay, yes. So it will create a private registry for you. So in that registry, now you can able to create in that registry, you can able to create public repositories as well as private repositories. In that registry, you can able to create public repositories as well as private repositories. Let's say I have created public repository and private repository as well. So let me write that I created a public repository and I created a private repository as well. So now what you want to store? You want to store your Docker images, right? Yes. So I want to store my Docker images. Now let's say I want to store my Docker images. Where I am storing those Docker images in either public repository or private repository. Where you're storing that Docker image under either public repository or else private repository. Let's say this is one image. This is one another image. Like that, I have multiple images in the public repository, and in similar way, I would like to put, or else I would like to put, that is nothing but in technical terms we call it as pushing. I would like to push my public repository to this private public. I'd like to push my Docker images to public repository and private repository. Now I just pushed, this is one Docker image and this is another Docker image. Here also this is one Docker image and below one is another Docker image. Now let's analyze back. That is where you are putting your Docker images. You're putting your Docker images either in public repository or else in private repository, right? Yeah. Where your public and private repositories will present. These public and private repositories present inside your private registry. Where your private registry is present under ECR. Now let's see, is this private registry present all over the world? That means is the private registry present in globally? Let's see, ECR is globally available or not. ECR is not globally available. Your repository will present in any one of the region. That means, let's say I created my repository where I created my repository in Mumbai region. Does it available in Hyderabad region also? No, it is not available in Hyderabad region. So then, since even my repository is not available in Hyderabad region, can I able to access the repository which is present in Mumbai region? No, right? I cannot able to access. Then how can I able to replicate the data which is present in Mumbai region to Hyderabad region? So to replicate your data which is present in Mumbai region to Hyderabad region, you can use the option that is CRR. What does this CRR stands for, sir? This CRR stands for cross region replication. Cross region replication. So you have to enable this option. So you have to enable this cross region replication option in ECR. In ECR, you have an option called cross region replication. Whenever you enable this cross region replication between two regions, let's say I want to replicate my data from Mumbai region to where? Hyderabad region. So you need to specify what is the source. What is the source location? My source location is what? My source location is Mumbai region. And again, you need to specify what is the destination location. My destination location is what? Hyderabad region. So those two things you need to provide. So those two things you need to provide while enabling your cross region replication. After you enabling this cross region replication, now your data which you uploaded, or else what are the images that you put in Mumbai region, those are automatically available in Hyderabad region as well. So let's say if my Mumbai region is damaged due to some disaster, so all my images got damaged, all my images got vanished. Yes, of course, since the Mumbai region is got damaged due to some natural disasters, all my data gone at Mumbai region. If you enable this cross region replication, then your data is available in another region, that is Hyderabad region. Yes, so whenever you upload your data, that will be automatically replicated at the same time to Hyderabad region. So that's why my data is even available at Hyderabad region. So by enabling this cross region replication, can I able to manage disaster recovery? Yes, we can able to manage disaster recovery even we can able to manage disaster recovery as well. So for your images, for your whatever the container Docker container images you have, those images disaster recovery also you can able to manage in this ECR. This is not possible if you choose with Docker Hub. So let's see another thing. So in a region, sir, you told ECR is a regional level. Since ECR is regional level, we cannot able to replicate, we cannot able to see our images which are created in one region in another region. If I create my image in Mumbai region, I cannot able to see in Hyderabad region. If I want, then I can choose this, I can enable this cross region replication. So then only I can get my data in Hyderabad region as well. So since ECR is a regional level, right? Yes. So let's see how many public repositories we can able to create in a region. How many public repositories that I can able to create? You would not have a limit. So under this private repository, under this private registry, you can create unlimited amount of public repositories. You can able to create unlimited amount of these type of public repositories. Coming to private repositories, you can able to create only 10,000 private repositories are allowed to be created under this private registry. For a single private registry in a region, you can able to create only 10,000 private repositories. So I have created my required number of repositories. Okay, for one repository, so in one repository, how many images can I able to upload, sir? How many images can I able to pull? Uploading is nothing but pulling. Putting is nothing but pulling here. So putting image is nothing but we call it as pull image. So what do we call this putting image? We call this putting an image in this ECR. We call this putting an image as pull full image. Okay, yes. So how many images that I can able to put? That means in a single repository, how many images that I can able to put? Up to 10,000 images that you can able to put in a single region. Sorry, in a single repository, you can able to put 10,000 images, right? Yes. So if anybody asks you in a private repository in ECR, how many public repositories can able to put in a single region? You can able to put unlimited amount of public repositories. Coming to private repositories in a single region in a private registry, how many you can able to put? You can able to create up to 10,000 private repositories. Now, after creating those repositories in a single repository, how many how many images that I can able to pull? Then what's your answer? It will be 10,000. 10,000 images that you can able to pull in a single repository. So to push, putting is nothing but pushing, man. Putting is nothing but pushing an image. Pushing an image is nothing but pushing. That is, putting is nothing but pushing. So putting an Docker image, putting a Docker container image is nothing but pushing. Putting a Docker container image is nothing but pushing. So by using which command can I able to push, sir? By using Docker push. By using Docker push command, you can able to push. So you can able to push an image by using Docker push command. Okay, let's say I have put it, that is I have pushed my Docker image in any one of the repository. Now I want to pull. Now I want to pull an image. Pull means retrieving an image from the Docker. I want to retrieve an image. I want to retrieve an image from this repository. Then what is the command that you need to use? Docker pull is the command that you need to retrieve an image. So now let you tell me. So in order to pull, in order to retrieve my image, or in order to put my image, do I need to go? Do I need to access this public repository or private repository? Yes. So in order to retrieve an image, or in order to put an image in the private repository or public repository, I need to have an access, right? Yeah. So by default, whenever you're creating an account, AWS will provide you, a default registry, right? Yes, AWS will provide me a default registry. As a owner, I have ability to access, all my public repositories and private repositories. There is no restrictions for me at all. So there is no restrictions for me at all to access these services. I just need to access AWS by using my credentials, that is root login, root email and password. After I log into AWS by using root email and login, now I can able to access all the registries and repositories which are present under my account, right? In the ECR, I can able to access all my registries. Under the registries also, I can able to access all the repositories. Under repository also, I can able to see all the images which are present, and I can able to access all the images as well. Let's say, let's say I have an image. In Docker client. So I have an image in where I have an image in Docker client. Now what I want to do? Is I want to upload that image. I want to upload that image to where I want to upload that image to any one of the repository. Let's say I want to upload that to my private repository. I want to upload that to my private repository. How can I able to upload, sir? So in order to upload your image, in order to upload your Docker container image which is present in your Docker client, you first need to access AWS, right? you need to access AWS, and you need to enter into this private repository, private registry first, and then you need to enter into this private repository. Then only you can able to put your data here, right? Yes. So now to enter into private registry, to enter into this private registry, do my Docker client require permission? Yeah, of course, Docker client require permissions. So how can I able to provide permissions for this Docker client, sir? You can able to provide permissions to this Docker client to enter into your private registry by using authorization token. By using what you can able to provide access? You can able to provide access by using authorization. By using what you can able to provide access? Authorization. By using the authorization token. By using the authorization token, you can able to provide. By using the authorization token, you can able to provide the access to private registry. You can able to provide access to private registry. So in order to enter in order to enter into this Docker client need authorization token. In order to enter into your private registry, what does the Docker client require initially? It require authorization token. Let's see how to provide this authorization token. To provide this authorization token, you need to go for AWS CLI at first. You need to go for AWS CLI. Then, in order to get this authorization token, you need to write a command. What command do you need to write? Do you need to write a command? What is the command that you need to write is, for getting this authorization token, you need to write a command that is AWS ECR. So AWS ECR get login password. What is that? Get login password. So get login password for particular region, right? So you need to specify region, and here you need to specify whatever the region you want. So here you need to specify whatever the region you want to access your ECR images. So in which region you want to access your ECR ECR registry, that region you need to provide here. And then since this is a Docker client, do it require username and password? No, right? So you need to write no include email. No include email. That you need to write here. So in order to get this authorization token, so let's say my image is present in where? My image is present in Docker client. Now Docker client want to access this private registry at first, to in order to upload my what image in private repository. First, my Docker client needs to access this private registry. How to access this private registry? First, it needs to access this private registry by using authorization token. How to get the authorization token? In AWS CLI, you need to enter this following command. Then you can get the particular authorization token. You can get the particular region authorization token. So in a region, I have this private registry, right? So that private registry can be accessed by the generated link. So whenever you write this and click on enter, in this particular region place, you need to provide whatever the region you want. That is, if you want Mumbai region, then you need to provide the region code AP-south- 1A or 1B or 1C. So like that, you need to provide the region here. You need to replace this with your own region. Okay. So whenever you typed and entered this command in AWS CLI, then you can get the link. What do you get? You can get the login command. You can get the login command. That will be look like the login command you get. So how that will look like, sir? That login command will look like first you have Docker and login as user AWS hyphen post password hyphen p password, and then you have a URL like https:// your account ID. AWS account ID will be present here. After that, since you are accessing the Docker, it has docker.ecr service dot region. So here, what are the region that you provided? For that region, you get the code. So this is the region of that, and amazon.com. Like this, you got the password for the login, and you got this account ID as well as this region. So in order to get this password, you need to write this get login password command in the where AWS CLI, you need to write this command. What is the command? AWS ECR get login password. There you need to specify which region you want to get this password, and no include email will give you like this credentials password. So whenever you type this in your Docker and hit the enter, now you are authorized. Now you are authorized to this private repository. Now you have entered to this private repository. So after entering into this private repository, I have public repository, right? Yes, I have a public repository after entering to this private repository. Now you can tell me for this public repository, what are the public repository I have? Now, is there any security, or else for this public private repository, is there any security where it can stop me? Yes, there is a security called repository. What is the security? That is repository policy have. There is a repository policy present in it. So that will stop you. What is that? There is a policy, name is repository policy. So there is a repository policy present in this where it can stop you in order to access this repository. So those who are having this repository policy, in this repository policy, we can able to write who can able to access this repository. So if I include this, whatever the Docker client who is accessing this private repository, then that Docker client can able to access this repository. Whenever he can able to access this repository, then he can able to put, that is nothing but he can able to push the Docker image, and he can able to retrieve, that is nothing but pull the Docker images by using which commands? Docker push and Docker pull commands. He can now able to access this particular repository images, right? Yeah. So now let's see back how Docker client is accessing my private repository to push or pull the images which are present in the repository, right? Yeah, how? So in order to access, first this Docker client require authentication token to enter into private registry, right? Yeah. So in order to enter into private registry, this Docker client require this authorization token. How this Docker client will get this? By using AWS CLI, you need to put a command in that is AWS ECR get login password, and in which region your registry will be, that you need to provide here. Then since it is not a user, so we don't need email password, so no include email, that you need to mention here. Then you got this command, command. You need to just paste this command under your Docker client. Then this Docker client will access this AWS by using this password, and it can able to enter into this private registry. Now your Docker client is entered into this private registry. So in order to put your images or else retrieve the images which are present in private registry, so does this Docker client require permission, right? Yes. So there is a security who is present at repository level. That security is nothing but repository policies. So the persons who are having access to this repository policy, in this repository policy we can able to mention who are having the permission to access this private repository. So if we mention this Docker client there, this Docker client can able to access the images. So at that time only he can able to put or push or pull the images into the private repository. Now let's say you told about Docker client. Let's say there is a user in my company. There is a user named IAM user. Now he want to access the same thing. What is the same thing? He want to access this images which are present in my private repository by using console. So you have seen programmatically how the Docker client can access. Now this IAM user want to access console access. If I want to access, that is, as a root user, I can able to see everything. But as a IAM user, he initially do not have access, right? So he just stopped at this registry. He doesn't have this authorization token, right? So how can we provide this authorization token for him? So you can provide this authorization token for this IAM user by using ECR, by providing the policy. What policy? ECR. You can able to provide access to your private registry to the IAM user by using which policy? By using ECR get authorization token API call. So if you want to access this private registry by using SDK, then you need to provide a policy for that SDK. What is the policy? What is the token that we need to provide? ECR get authorization token. So you need to provide authorization token. You need to provide this permission. What is that? Get authorization permission to the token. Get authorization token you need to provide for the either SDK or else the IAM user who need to enter into this. For that you need to provide this. Now the SDK call, that is software development kit call or else API call will reach to here. So since we provided this ECR authorization token to the API call, now that API call will enter into this. That means whenever we are entering it by using programmatically, that is by using SDK, then you need to provide this authorization token to that particular SDK API call. Then it just enters into here. Now, in order to access this repository, we need to provide an IAM role to that particular EC2 instance. So let's say I'm running my code in EC2 instance. This EC2 instance want to access this private repository. How it can able to access, sir? First, you need to get this ECR, get authorization token, and you need to attach it to this EC2 instance. Next, you need to provide, next, you need, in order to access this repository, so you need to attach the particular IAM role to what? This particular EC2 instance, then he can able to attach. So if a user want to access this private repository, then you need to provide an IAM policy. What? You need to provide an IAM policy to the user, then only user can able to access this. So if Docker client need to access this, then what does this Docker client require? Authentication token and repository policy. If user need to access this, then what user require? User require permissions and IAM policy to access this private repository, to access these images. If any particular resource or EC2 instance want to access this particular images which is present in my private repository, then what does the resource require? Resource require IAM role to access this particular service. Then it needs a policy or repository policy permission to access this particular repository images which are present in the particular repository. So public repository will be same like this only. You can able to create unlimited public repositories, but if you want to restrict access to that particular public repository, then you can able to provide repository policy there as well. So if you provide repository policy there, then it will restrict the access to that public repository as well. So in ECR, we can allow to create private registries as well. We can even allow to create private registries as well. Those are present in galleries in ECR. So I don't think it much required in it, so that I'm not telling about it. So this is all about ECR, AWS ECR, Elastic Container Registry. So in this ECR, what you can able to do? You can able to store and manage your images. What type of images? Docker images, right? Yes. Now, who can manage the background infrastructure for you? AWS. Since ECR is provided by AWS, AWS is managing background infrastructure for you. So whenever you created an account, do you get a private registry? Yes, you get by default a private registry you get. In that private registry, how many public accounts, public repositories can I create in a region? Unlimited. How many private repositories can I create per region? 10,000, right? Yeah. So in order to get my images from one region to another region, what I need to do? Cross region replication. What I need to do? I need to enable cross region replication. Okay, so how can I able to manage my disaster recovery? By enabling this cross region replication only, you can able to manage this disaster recovery. Is this ECR is regional or global? This ECR is regional level. Okay, how Docker client access my images which are present in my private repository? First, he need to have access to AWS and private registry access. So in order to get this private registry access and AWS access, we need to generate an authorization token by using CLI. So by using which command you can able to generate? By using AWS ECR get login password and region you need to mention in place of this, and no include email that you need to provide here. Then you got a command like this, login command like this. This just you need to copy paste in Docker client and just click enter, so that he can able to enter into this private registry. So in order to access this private repository or public repository, what does he require? He require a repository policy. So if you provide the access to the Docker client to in that repository policy, he can able to access your particular repository. Then he can able to put and retrieve the Docker images by using which commands? Docker push and Docker pull commands. You can able to do the things. So let's say as a root user, can I able to access this directly? Yes. As a root user, you have default permissions to put or pull images which are present in the repositories. You can able to access every repository. You can able to do everything in the repository. Okay, let's say a IAM user want to access this, then how can I access, how IAM user can access this? You need to provide an IAM role for the IAM user, so then he can able to access. You can able to provide even IAM policy to the IAM user so that he can able to access the particular service and particular repositories as well. Now, let's say I want to provide the access to these images to any one of the resource. How can I able to provide? I can able to provide by providing which token? ECR get authorization token you can provide for the particular resource. Then whenever you log in with that resource, then it will just enter your private registry. Then in order to enter into this private repository, you need to provide this IAM policy to that particular EC2 instance. That is by providing that IAM policy, or by providing IAM role policy, you can able to IAM role to that EC2 instance. That EC2 instance can able to access this particular images present in this either public repository or private repository. So this is all about. So for a particular account, for a particular private registry, how many number of repositories, how many number of private repositories do I can able to create? 10,000. In a particular repository, how many Docker images that I can able to push or maintain? 10,000 only. So I hope you covered all the things regarding this ECR. So thanks for watching. If you feel this video is contentful, then please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. See you back in the next video. Until then, bye bye. Thanks for watching again.